payments are monthly, 20 years amortization, okay? 0 plus minus future value. And we're going to look for the payment first. So get me all the way to the payment. Okay, I'll do it quietly here. It should come up to the negative 1369.23. Okay, so is that what you got for the payment? And when you do with that payment, you're going to increase it to the next higher cent every time, no exception. So it's going to be 24. So you're going to do 1369.24 plus minus PMT. Okay. Okay, so step 1 is finished. Step number 2, we don't have anything to do with the timeline because the term and amortization is the same number. So for that reason, you can just keep step number 2. There's nothing for you to do. Step number 3, it's not about your money. It's about the investor. He bought it for $225,000. So that's going to be your new PV. So you're going to put that as a new present value, $225,000 PV. Then you're going to press your IYR. Mine came up as a 4.048. Okay, that is a J12 because our PYR is monthly. And what do they want? They want it to be as a nominal rate with a semi-annually. So they want J2. So then what do? I press shift effective. Effective to convert to J1. So shift effective. It converts to 4.1247. And then I do 2 shift PYR, shift nom. 2 shift PYR. And then shift nom. And mine came up to 4.083033. Okay. So that's what I got in there. And that should be the answer. That is a J2 because your PYR is 2. Okay. Should be option number 1. So you should like those questions by now. I think they are awesome. And they're step by step, right? So should be no confusion then. So you might get bored with me because it's all the same stuff now. Let's do question 11. A mortgage broker has arranged a mortgage of the amount of $240,000. The borrower has agreed to pay a broker fee of $5,000 that will be added to the loan, given a face value of $245,000. The mortgage bears the interest rate of 8% compounded quarterly, and the mortgage has a term and amortization of 25 years. The loan to be repaid using the monthly payments, the equivalent periodic interest rate expressed as a rate per month. Same question. The only thing they changed in here is what they're looking for at the end. And this is why I want you to pay attention to, because they're asking you for something very specific. They say the equivalent periodic rate is. What is a periodic rate? Nominal, it's an interest per a year. Periodic rate, that's how much they charge you per each period. So if I say what's the monthly rate, what's the quarterly rate, I'm referring to that small number. So you always have to find the big number first. So you have to find the big rate, nominal rate, and then take it and divide it by its compounding. Okay, so we'll get there. And they want the express rate per month. So they want the monthly rate, right? So that's what they're looking for. So that means my J better be in 12, J12. So is that a PP question? Yes, it is. Why? Because you have the fees, and yes, you have all the rates, all the percentages as the answer. So that's definitely a PP question. So what do we do in PP question? Step 1, we're going to find the payment, your PV. What would you add in there? There's a lot of numbers here, 240, 245. Which one? Of course, 245. You're going to put the face value. So 245,000 as your PV, 0 plus minus future value. We're looking for the payments for 25 years amortization. And here they tell you the same thing. They say that the term and the amortization will be 25 years. So what does that mean? I mean, step 2 will be skipping, because there's no term. When it's the same as the amortization, there's nothing for you to do in step number 2. It's fully amortized, okay? So pull up your J's. Let's do the impairment first. We have quarterly. That's nice, finally. Something different. Payments are still monthly. Are they monthly? Yes, they are. Monthly payments. So let's do the impairment first. Make sure that you notice it's J4 now. It's not a J2. Because your fingers are so used to that too now, okay? So 8 shift nom. 4 shift PYR shift effective. 12 shift PYR shift nom. It should come up to 7.94. 7 to blah, 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 right? So that should be your conversion from 4 to J12. You know your PYR is 12 now, but you can cross off your IYR, PYR. You don't have to change them anymore. Go back to the end. So 25 shift end will come up as 300 months. Okay? 245,000 PV, 0 plus minus future value. Find the payment. My payment came up to 1,000, okay? Negative 1,882.39. I'm laughing at myself. Okay, so 1882.39. And if they say nothing, your payment always have to be increased to the next highest cent. All they said is a monthly payment. So your job is to take that payment and change those 2 decimals to the next highest cent. So from 39, you're going to increase it to 40. So you're going to do 1882.40 plus minus PMT. And you're going to plug that in. So on top of everything, you're going to put 1882.40 plus minus, and then plus PMT. Negative 10 came up, 40 is in there, lots of zeros came up. Step 1 is done. Step 2 is skipping. Why? Because there is no term. If my term was different from the amortization, so it was in any other number, then yes, you would do the nuggets and fries. Some people try to do the 25 shift and price future value, and it gives them 0 point something outstanding balance. Please don't do that because your answer will be off, okay? Just know when it's the same as the amortization, don't touch. There's no term to do, okay? Just keep it. Step number 3, PV is your, call them clean money, right? Money without the fees. What do we have here? 45,000, 245 was a face value. Without the fees was 240. So that's going to be your step number 3. I don't have any investors in here, so that's a basic PP question. So you're going to put 240,000 PV. Do that right now. Make sure you change it on your screen, 240,000. Press PV, okay? And after you finish that, what do? You press your IYR, right? Press the IYR. When you press the IYR, it comes up as 8.1883, okay? What's this? That is your J12, because PYR was 12, that is a J12. And what do they want, okay? So this is a J12 equals 8.13. Okay, so I'll just pull it up like this. So this is what you have right now. This is what you found. So you look at your screen and you know that this 8.18, whatever that number is, it's sitting in your IYR button, right? It's sitting right here in your second key. What is the second key stands for? It's in inches per year. So that is a nominal key, okay? This is a big number, I call it. And if they ask you for nominal, you keep it. If I ask you for effective, or usually you just press shift effective, and it's still going to be a big number, but it will be J1. But in this case, they say, what is the interest rate expressed, and they say periodic interest rate, expressed as the interest per month. Per month. So can I take this big number and divide it by 12? Yes, I can. How do you know? Because my compounding is what they want. If they want per month, then I can take that divided by 12. What if they ask me per quarter? And I have J12 in here. Can I take that 8.18 and divide it by 4? No. Why not? Because I need to have it done as J4 equals, and only then I can take the number divided by its compounding. So you can only divide it by whatever the compounding is you in. So if you want per month, in this case, we're happy. It's all good. Okay? So take that 8.1 for whatever you have, that big number, divide it by 12. Do that right now, divide it by 12. And when you divide it by 12, what happens? It comes up as a 0.68236, blah, blah, blah. Right? So that's what you got in here. And that's how much they charge you per month. So basically, for the whole year is 8.18. Every month, they're charging you that 0.668, right? 0.68. So this is what's happening right now, right? That's how you have to think of it. Okay, so option 1 is the answer. Same thing, they try to change things a little bit for you. Okay, question 12. Mortgage loan with a face value of 100,000 arranged through the mortgage broker. Commission is 3,500. Fees 450. Survey fees 600 will be deducted from the face value before the funds advance to the borrower. Calculate the cost of funds advanced to the borrower expressed as an effective annual rate of the loan written at 7.75% compounded semi-annually with payments that are monthly for 20 years amortization. This is a very basic question. The same thing what we've done before. There's nothing different here. The only thing is that you will have to do here, you'll have to do math. Right? You'll have to do the calculation from the face value. You'll have to minus everything. So let's do this. Face value, how do you know if it's a PP question? There's a lot of fees, there's a face value. Actually, face value is not a keyword because you have a lot of questions with that. You have all the answers are in percentages, right? And they're looking for the cost of funds advanced. So they're looking for the borrower side, cost of funds advanced to the borrower. So, and they want it as an effective annual interest rate. So they want it as a J1. So the end, make sure you press that shift effective. Okay, so let's start the question. Face value is what your present value is. So you're going to put 100,000 PV. Okay, so what else are you going to pull up out of the question? 7.75. Is your rate compounded semi-annually, monthly payments is 12, 20 years amortization and the term. So guess what? My step number 2, I'm going to cross it off because my term and amortization is the same number. There's nothing for me to do in step number 2, which is nice. And that's it. We have enough information to do the question and we have enough information to find the payment. So start with your comfort zone. Let's do that. Okay, so we're going to do conversion from J2 to J12. I expect you already doing that without writing down the conversion. Okay, that's what you're doing so far. And I'm very proud of you. So 7.75 shift norm, 2 shift PYR shift effective, 12 shift PYR shift norm comes up to 7.6277. Okay, so that's your, and Pepin, you've done that. That means that 12 right now sits in your PYR, so you can cross them off. You don't need to enter that, right? But you understand that everything is monthly. And it's 20 years, you're going to do 20 shift N. It will come up as 240. Okay, do that right now. So 20 shift N comes up as 240. 100,000 PV, 0 plus minus future value. And then what do? You press PMT. So my payment came up as a negative $813.42. What do they say about the payments? All they say is with monthly payments over 20 years. So payments are not specified, so it's your job to take that payment and increase it to the next higher cent. So manually, on top of everything, put 813.43 plus minus PMT, right? So plug that in. So 813.43. 43 plus minus PMT. Okay, so payment is in negative with the next highest cent. So as soon as you have that on your screen and make sure it's negative, then you go for the next step. Step 2, we crossed it off. Why? Because your term and amortization is the same number, so there's nothing for you to do here. There's no outstanding balances left because it's you're stuck for 20 years in that relationship. Okay, step number 3 is your present value. Present value is if we had an investor, you would put the investor's money. Always think of it this way. If I have an investor, he's always a priority to me. I'll use his money in here. But in this case, we don't have the investor, so we have all those fees. So you have to do it manually on your calculator, not in your head. So you're going to take 100,000. Okay, and then you're going to minus all the fees. So I'm doing the math on this side. Okay, minus 3,500. And you tell me how much it comes up to. 450. And then minus 600 in here too. Right, so all of that. So minus the 3,500 minus 450 minus 6. And when you finish that, make sure that you put it into your, what do you put this number to? You're going to put it into your PV, right? So make sure that you put that information into PV. So mine came up as 95,450. Is that what you got? 95,450. And guess what I did? I made a mistake. I pushed this into my IYR button by mistake. So what do I do now? I have to redo the whole question from the beginning. But you guys put this 95,450 as in your PV right now. Put that in. 95,450 and make sure that you press the PV. Okay, after you finish the step, you press your IYR. So go for the next step, press your IYR. Okay, and then see what they're asking for. They want a J1, so make sure that you press the shift effective. So let me redo the question really quickly, and then you guys should be, by then, getting the answer. So step number 4, your IYR came up as 8.2522, right? That's what you've done in here. And then what you do, you have to convert it to what they want. And in this question, they ask you for the effective. So you just press shift effective, right? That's all you do. So shift effective. And when you press shift effective, it should convert it to 8.57, right? And that should be the answer because that's J1. And the answer should be option number 3. Basic question, from now on, everything will be the same. It's all going to be basic questions as the PP questions. Question 13. A mortgage contract with a face value of $75,000 for 1815 requires the monthly payments of 1125, 20 years amortization period. However, the mortgage broker advance is only $73,700, as deducted commission fees of $1,000, legal fees and appraisal fees. Calculate the cost of funds advanced to the borrower. So as you see in this question, we have a lot of fees for sure, right? So it sounds like a very, very good question. It sounds like definitely like a PP question, right? Definitely like a PP question. Now, my only question to you is, what's missing? When you look at that, there should be something that is missing in here, something that gives you that comfort. Yes, your J's are missing. They did not specify how much the rate is going to be. And this is where people look at the question and says, it's not a real PP question. It's not as nice. And I said, I know. But it's still a PP question. Yes, you still can do this. The only thing you cannot do, you cannot find your own payment. The reason we always find the payment is because your J is given to you. And with the J is given to you, then you say, okay, I can find my own payment. But in this case, they did not give you the J's, but they gave you the payment. So we'll convert that step. We'll just reverse it. We'll pretend that we found our own payment by using the payment that's given to us in the question. So let's pull up everything what we can. So we have a face value. Face value is $75,000. We're still going to use that as your present value as always. $75,418.15. Okay. Monthly payments. We have no other choice. We have to use their payments because we cannot find our own payment. Why we cannot find it? Because we have no J's. So I'll just pretend we found it. So that's why I put a box in there. Okay. Then we have 20 years amortization, so 20N. Okay, and then what else do we have in here? And then we have all the fees, and they say calculate the cost of funds advanced. So again, they're looking for that cost of funds to the borrower. Same idea, right? So if I was looking for the payments, my future value would be what? It would be 0 plus minus. Payment is monthly. My N has to be in months. That means PYR has to be 12. So even if I cannot do this, I know that my PYR will be 12 because my payment is monthly. So guess what you do? Because we have no impairment to do, we have no conversion, you're going to start with this. You're going to start with your PYR. Remember the foundational key? So you're going to do 12 shift PYR. Okay, put that in. As long as you put that in, then everything else will match. So put that 20, shift N, will come up as 240. Okay. Present value, $75,418.15. PV, positive, right? Payment is, you have to plug it in, 1125 plus minus PMT, and then you press 0 plus minus future value. Okay, 0 plus minus future value. So you've done the model analysis, so what do I press now? What do I look for? Am I done? Of course not. But you can press the IYR at this point because it's not given to us. You can press it, but we'll still consider that as a step number 1. So I got my IYR as 17.3265, whatever that is, right? Long number. So I'm not highlighting this one because that's not what we're looking for. But in this case, I had to press it, right? I had to press this IYR so I can fill up all my buttons in here. Okay. So it's fine to do it that way because there's no other choices for us in this question. Okay. So my step 1 is still considered to be as finished because I do have my payment. Okay. And I have all my other buttons that filled in. So that's good. Step number 2, look at the line and see if we have any terms that's given to you in the question. And I don't see nothing. All I see says for 20 years amortization period, and that's it. So I assume there's no term. So you would skip step number 2. I would cross it off. And step number 3, that's your PV without the fees. Do we have that? Is that given to us? And yes, they do. They were nice to us this time. They say, however, if the mortgage advance is only that after all the fees deducted, then we know that 73,700 will be your PV without the fees. You still can do your math. You still can do the calculation and minus it all yourself out of that 75,000 yourself. But if it's given to you, I would just take it. 73,700 PV. So on top of your 17,032, well, you have 17.32 something IYR. On top of this, just put this new number in. So 73,700 PV. Make sure you press present value. Okay, so that's in. And now we're going to continue with our question as we always do. Press your IYR. So press the IYR. It comes up to, mine came up to 17.7807, right? So that's what I got. And what's this? That is your J12. What do they want? Calculate that. And they say nothing in the question, but look at all of the answers. All of the answers are in J1. This is tricky. So instead of telling you in the question that they want an effective, they say absolutely nothing, but they put all the answers in J1. So what do? You do your J1. You press shift effective. And when you press the shift effective, it converts to J1. It should come up to 19.3037, right? And that's your option number 4. Okay. So the only thing in this question was different, that we did not have our J's. That's why I call it comfort zone, right? We don't have that. So you had to figure out that I would put the payment as is, and I would just press IYR instead. But I would still consider that as step number 1. Okay. Let's do one more like this. Question 14, a mortgage contract with a face value of $75,418.15. Payments, monthly payments of $1125, 20 years amortization. Mortgage broker advance is only $73,009 after deducting all those fees. Calculate the cost of funds. So it's the exact same question, just a little bit of different numbers, right? Calculate the cost of funds advance. So we'll do the same thing. We'll put the face value as the present value, so $75,418.15. We'll put the $73,900 as a new PV because it's without the fees, right? As I go through the question, the payment is $1125. Plus minus, future value, we'll assume it's a 0, and it's for 20 years. And because it says nothing about the term, I'll skip the step number 2, I'll just cross it off, okay? Payment is monthly. I don't have any J's in this question, so I'll do the same thing. I'll just put my 3 dots in here. I know that my N, my payments, and PYR have to be matching. So if payment is monthly, PYR has to be 12, and my N will be 20 shift, and it will come up as 240 months when I multiply it. Okay, so even though we're still going to pretend we're looking for the payment, even though we're pretending, but in the end, of course, we're going to push this button because we need to fill up all of the buttons in here. Start with UPYR. So 12 shift PYR under your payment key. 20 shift N comes up as 240. Skip this for now, we don't have it. So 75,418.15 PV. 1125 plus minus payment, we put it in, right? 0 plus minus future value, and then you press your IVR. And the reason we press it is because we don't have our own IVR. And it comes up as 17.3265. Is that the answer? Sometimes they'll add it through in the answers, but you know we're not there yet because that's not what we're looking for. We still have to put the new present value and put the IVR and put all that stuff, okay? So skip the step number 2 because we don't have any term in the question. Then after you finish the payment or this stuff, then you go for step number 3. So put the new PV, put 73,900 PV. New present value without any fees. Press your IVR. Comes up to 17,7269. Okay. That is your J12. And what do they want? They say nothing, but all the answers are in J1. So you would assume that you will have to do the shift effective. So press shift effective, and that will convert it to J1. It will come up 19.2405. Okay. So that becomes your answer. So don't stress out over those questions. They're not very common in the exam, but just in case if you see one of those ones, at least you know what to do with that. Okay. Try to stick to the formula, though. So that's one of the things I want to tell you guys. Because some people say, but why can't I just put that 73,900 straight up in here and just finish it all in one step? Yes, you can. You can do anything you want. But this is safer. And I want to make sure that nobody loses not even 1 mark on math. Math has to be so foundational. It has to give you those solid marks. So that's why I say just follow that. How long does it take you to do this question? It's nothing, right? So just follow the steps. Don't be creative too much. Okay, this is an interesting question. People have a special question. There's always a reason to be special. Not a common question in an exam. I'll say it again. Not a common question. Don't worry about it. Don't stress over this one. Okay? We don't see this one often at all. Okay, so under development companies contemplating the mortgage of the vacant lot in order to construct a small commercial center. Construction to take 10 months and to be financed by the construction loan. So development company estimates that it requires $400,000 of the construction financing such that it will owe the bank $425,000 at the end of 10 months. So they're planning to take $400,000 for the construction from the bank, and they're planning to return $425,000 plus basically $25,000 extra at the end of 10 months. Further, it estimates that it will be able to sell the center at the same time in 10 months for $624,000. So they'll make a lot of profit here. If the company purchased the vacant lot of $180,000, what yield on equity after financing pre-tax will they earn expressed as an effective annual rate? Oh my gosh. It's definitely a special question. So my question to you in here, is this question looks like a PP question to you? Does it look like it? Does it feel like a PP question? Do they talk about fees? Do they talk about cost of funds advance in here? Absolutely nothing. There's nothing in this question related to what we just did. So for that reason, you're not going to see the PP question in here or PP formula in here because there's nothing to do with it. But yes, you see all the answers in percentages. So that's going to be your one-step solution question. So if it's not a PP question, it's going to be a one-step solution. Okay, so this is what that is. It's basically the question that does not fit in anywhere. Right? But it's not a PP question. It doesn't have the fees. It doesn't have the yield. It doesn't have anything. Okay. So what do we do with that question? We're just going to teach you it, but just know that you don't have to stress out over this one on the exam. First thing you have to figure out in this question is, so what's going to be my present value? What's the future value? That's it. This is the hardest part of the whole question, is to figure out these things. Let's pull up what we know for sure. We know the N. The N is the 10 months, right? So if it's one-step solution, that means there's not much to do. N is in 10 months, that means PYR will be, tell me? It better be 12, because if that's months, then that PYR has to be 12, right? So that shows us that it's going to be 10 months. What else do we have in that question? Not much. Expressed as an effective annual rate. So they want J1. Okay, so they want the J1, that's what we know. And then they give us all this extra information in here and say, so what's your rate basically, right? What they're looking for is one-step solution rate. That's it. So in this question, we're dealing with the development, okay? They're buying the lot for 180, okay? Then they're building the development of, they're taking the mortgage from the bank for 400,000, they're planning to return 425, and then the profit will be, what they're planning to sell it for is 624,000. So many numbers in here. And the lot value is going to be 180. So I'm going to give you clues. I want to make it simple for you. You have to do 2 things. Present value is the cost to them. How much did they buy the property for? And the future value is what's the profit. Okay? Now, how much is sold for? What's the profit? That's it. That's the 2 things you have to know. So some people say, if I ask you, so what's the PV? Is that 400, 425, 180, 624? Which one is the present value? What did they buy the lot for? Okay? They bought it for 180. So your PV is 180. Okay? So that's their cost. And because they're doing an investment, they're not planning to do any payments in between the 2 kids. They're going to pay it back. Your job is to figure out what's my future value. Future value is your profit. So what would be the profit? If I bought it for 180, okay, that's out. I owe to the bank 425, and I'm planning to sell it for 624. So if you take that 624, okay, which is your sales, you minus what you borrowed to the bank, which is 425. Okay, you're getting me, right? 199 is how much they're going to make at the end of the transaction. And that's it. That's what this question is all about. There's nothing else. It's tricky. We don't see it on the exam. My mortgage people might once in a blue moon will see this. So that's all you do. Right? So let's pull up the information. When you get to this IYR, you tell me straight up now, is that going to come up as a J1 or J12? Of course, it's going to be a J12 because if your PYR is 12, that means and your N is in months, everything will be right now, okay, as a J12. And then we're going to convert it to J1, which is easy, right? Okay, so find me this IYR. So start from the bottom, put that 12 in, so 12 shift PYR under the payment key. 10N, don't shift. Make sure that 10 shows up on the screen as is, please. Okay, skip your IYR, 180,000 PD, 199,000, plus minus future value, and a 0 plus minus PMC. So press your IYR. It will come up as, mine came up as a 210, oh, sorry, 1210. 12, 10, and 23, right? So that's what I got. That is my J12. And what are they looking for? They just want the J1. So when you do with J1, you press shift effective. Okay? As long as you press shift effective, effective converts things to J1. Okay? When you press shift effective, what did you get? I got 1279.67. Okay? So it should be option number 3. That's what I got. Get that one. Okay. Perfect. So that was one of those weird questions. You don't have to stress out with this one. So far, you should be liking your PP questions now. Okay? You might forget the accelerated stuff, but accelerated comes with practice when you start doing your mock exams, so we'll come back to you. But the PP questions should be good. Okay? You should like them. So we have 2 more questions to cover, and then we're going to go through the homework. This is an easy questions. I know it looks like scary math, but it's not bad. It's the same thing what we've been doing so far. I assume that, so let's do question 16 and 17. We'll see how simple they are. Assume only 22,500 of the loan of 24,000 face value is advanced to Sam and Sally. The effective annual rate of interest charged to the fund's advance will be. So basically what we've done is the math portion of it. Now they're asking the same question, but in this format. And this is, look, if Sam and Sally went to the bank and they got the face value of $24,000, okay, they paid the fees, okay, and at the end, the money that they got from the bank was $22,500. What was that cost of funds advance? What's the rate happen? What happened to that rate that they paid to the bank? Did they go up or down on that 22,000? Of course they went up. You remember how we did the math every single time, and we showed you that every time you would put less money in your last present value, and then you would press the IYR. IYR would show you that they're paying a way higher rate on their money because they got way less money than what the bank promised. So with those type of questions, if you see they talk about the cost of funds advance inside of the question in there, right? So if you see that, you know what they're referring to. They're saying that the greater the effective annual rate. So everything with the banks will be greater than the contract interest rate. The contract rate, let's say they say 5%, but at the end of the transaction, you pay them 6.5, right? So that's what they're referring to. Okay, last one. Question 17, given that all of the other factors are identical, the shortened term of the contract on the bonus partially amortized mortgage. Keyword will be bonused, okay? Because bonus is the same thing as the PP questions that we've been doing. It's where the basically the bonus could be is those lender fees, right? Or the broker fees or whatever that is fees in there. So the same idea is in here. So they say where the bonus is paid by the borrower, so the borrower is the one who's paying that bonus, those fees, right, to the lender basically. And what would happen, right? It's not about the payments, it's about the rate. And what happens to the rate? The higher the effective rate will be paid by the borrower. So the more you pay the fees, the more they charge you the fees, the higher the effective interest rate will be paid by the borrower. So the borrower always pays more if they include any fees inside of your mortgage. Okay, that's it. That's the foundational stuff. Okay, we're done by now. Yes, we are. There's some formulas for you to remember. You have some homework to do. You have your separate pages of homework. There's not as much homework as what you used to. It's way less now because now you have your foundational stuff. But definitely try to do all your PP questions and all your accelerated questions as many times as you can until you get them, okay? And if you don't get something, then you watch the math explanation videos. But first, try to do those questions by yourself. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next class. Math class number 5 will be even more fun. It's going to be even easier than all of this. So far, math class number 3 and math class number 4 considered to be are the hardest classes. And if you can handle those 2 classes, then everything else from now on is going to be a piece of cake for you.